All right, the good news is officials from Ukraine and officials from Russia held 6 hours of peace talks in Gomel, a city in Belarus. Now, the bad news is that the only thing they agreed on was to hold a second round of peace talks within the next few days. And pretty much everything else is bad news. And by the way, the Biden administration opposed today's peace talks even taking place. They were pushing Zelensky not to agree to it until Russia agrees to a total ceasefire in advance. So the Biden administration is still agitating, even though polls show a supermajority of the American public wants America to stay out of it. So Sunday, there was a national referendum in Belarus to amend their constitution. And it passed, allegedly, by 65.2%. So first of all, Belarus will now limit the president to 2 terms, but not the current president. Alexander Lukashenko gets to continue serving as many terms as he wants, but whoever comes after him can only serve 2 terms. You can't make this shit up. Now, apparently, Belarus federal law had required that the country remain neutral and not harbor nuclear weapons within its borders. So that's all abolished in this referendum. Now, would you believe that there are people who have the audacity to claim this election was fixed? Even major mainstream media outlets are trying to undermine democracy by claiming that 65.2% of voters did not really vote for all this. I think that these are dangerous purveyors of misinformation. As you know, it's impossible to fake an election. These people are seriously trying to undermine democracy. Pretty much while peace negotiations were going on in a Belarusian city, Belarus moved a giant military column to the border of Ukraine, right above the city of Lviv in western Ukraine. And people were taking cell phone videos of it, and the vehicles all have red squares on them. So this looks like an obvious vehicle identification scheme to avoid a friendly fire accident. So it's a lot of the Russian vehicles all have a white V on them. I think some of them in certain areas might have something different, but obviously this is meant to be a semi-threatening gesture to Ukraine. That they're saying, we've got all this equipment on your border now, all primed and ready to go. And so the obvious mission would be to swoop in and try to seize control of the Ukrainian side of the Ukrainian-Polish border to stop further aid and weapons from coming in. That would be the obvious mission. However, some people seem pretty hell-bent on starting World War III. The Prime Minister of Bulgaria is sacking the defense minister because the defense minister, General Yanez, opposes starting World War III. He said publicly that Bulgaria should not be pro-US or pro-EU or pro-Ukraine or pro-Russia or anything, that they should be worried about the safety of their own motherland, and they should not sacrifice themselves for the great powers in a colossal world war. Sounds pretty reasonable to me, but Bulgarian Prime Minister Petkov has called for his sacking, and tomorrow morning he's instructed Parliament to vote to officially remove him from office. So immediately, European media attacked the defense minister as being a Russian sympathizer and repeating Russian propaganda, which I can't see where he did. And you even have mainline media saying, oh, this is proof that Bulgaria is the Achilles heel of the EU and Putin could turn Bulgaria against the rest of us. Oh, it's completely absurd. And it's a dangerous escalation. And part of what Yanez was saying was that people should show more restraint and not say things that escalate the situation. And so another thing that was being reported in mainline media was that Bulgaria, Slovakia, and Finland were going to start providing MiG-29s to Ukraine, which also sounds like it implies a major provocation because, you know, Russia claims to have air superiority in Ukraine. The airfields have been bombed. Who's going to fly these planes? Where are they going to be flown out of? Well, now the Prime Minister of Bulgaria has denounced that as fake news, saying that we barely have any planes and we can't even afford spare parts for them. Slovakia has also denied this, but Poland, as far as I can tell, has not officially denied this. And there's certainly people in Poland who believe this to be true. So it's kind of up in the air now that it does seem like the origin of the story comes out of Poland and that something is being prepared. Meanwhile, Zelensky did this big thing where he signs an application to join the EU, and he's demanding that the EU make a special exception and make Ukraine a full member of the EU instantly. Now, keep in mind, countries in the EU, many of them spent as many as 10 years or more completing the process of joining the EU, and it's a long process. First you negotiate your candidacy, and then you become a candidate, and there's, like, I think poor little North Macedonia has been trying to just become a candidate for like 20 years now. But the reason Zelensky is doing this is because if the EU votes to make him a member, then EU member countries can deploy their military in Ukraine outside of the NATO architecture. Now, the situation around Mariupol right now is that it's surrounded by the Russian military on two sides and the separatist militia of the Donetsk People's Republic on two sides. And as far as I can tell, the main defenders of Mariupol are state-sponsored militia, not regular Ukrainian army, but they do have all kinds of heavy weaponry that the army has given them. Now, the way I see it, the best outcome that we can hope for right now is that Russia takes Mariupol within the next few days and then declares victory and stops the advance. But I don't know what's going to happen. So basically, what could happen spans from this ending in a few days to worldwide nuclear holocaust. Now, I'm not trying to engage in hyperbole or sensationalism, but I mean, that's just the reality. This could end in 48 hours, or this could end in global holocaust. I mean, there's certainly people who want to escalate the situation. And there's a lot of fighting in Kharkiv. And buildings are being destroyed. People are dying. I don't know why Russia is going after Kharkiv. It's not, I don't know why that's a target. They could have just stuck with Donetsk and Luhansk and restoring the water supply for Crimea. But they're going after Kharkiv. What the Russians are saying is they're blaming Ukraine for not calling for an evacuation of Kharkiv. They're saying that Ukrainian officials wanted civilians to stay in the city, and then they parked all kinds of military equipment next to residential infrastructure on purpose so civilians would get killed. So this is straight out of America's playbook. That's exactly what America says when we invade countries. And if you think I'm wrong, then you haven't been following the news very well during past conflicts. Of course, Russia does not have to go into Kharkiv. I don't know why Russia's going into Kharkiv. And there's a lot of things that Ukraine is doing I really don't like. They're telling people on TV to make Molotov cocktails. They're showing people with gas cans and all their old bottles, empty bottles of vodka, making Molotov cocktails. Well, maybe in 1917, in the early days of armored vehicles, Molotov cocktails were quite effective. But these people are just going to get themselves mowed down by machine gun fire today and possibly get their neighbors killed and all kinds of things. I fail to see how that's good advice to be telling the general public. All right, thanks for watching this video. Click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about this, and please subscribe to my backup channels on BitChute and Odyssey. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.